Hi, everyone. Sorry. Just waiting. Is anyone in the room? Yes. Hi. Sorry. I'm live. Oh, can we start? Oh, all right. What I will do, I will start sharing my screen. Actually, we'll take it from there. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Great. For some reason, let's move this one out of the way. Sorry. Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Christine Aykac. I'm going to talk today about how you can measure the maturity of your DevOps transformation efforts. Don't worry, it is like a long name and so, but we are going to talk about very simple steps, and it's going to help you for your transformation efforts, or any type of efforts, the activities you are doing. All right. Because why? It is, as you know, currently technology and business teams faces numerous of challenges, cultural, economical, organizational, in addition to technical. Most of you probably in IT, you know the problem, and I am there, and also in the business. You see, these problems don't just affect individual teams. They are organizational issues and have an impact on everyone within the organization. You see, if you are in the midst of your transformation, how do you know if you are on the right track? See, do you think it is enough to become a high-performing team to transform your organization? You see, according to the Harvard Business Review, companies are pouring millions into digital transformation, DevOps transformation, agile transformation, or business transformation, whatever you want to call it, initiatives. You see, but a high percentage of those actually activities fails. According to HBR, that's because companies put the cart before the horse. It means they are focusing on specific technology, such as we need an artificial intelligence strategy or we need big data strategy, etc. But actually, unfortunately, you have to do the hard work first, fitting the change into the overall business strategy. It is quite true that the non-technical side of the change, cultural, organizational, leadership changes, level changes, much more critical than the technical changes. That's why in this session, we will talk about these kind of changes and how you can overcome for this. All right. Now, I like what Catherine Kostorova said. He said that the transformation is a business discipline, company philosophy. I also call it mindset. It is not a project. Implementing a software, upgrading the new version, and so these are the projects. But the overall transformation, it's not a project because you cannot put the timelines on the cultural shift or employee empowerment and so on. And I think the Google VP, Amit Zaveri, also said that think of digital transformation, DevOps transformation, less as a technology project to be finished than as a state of agility, always ready to evolve for whatever customers want next. You see, whatever the market demands, based on your organizational structure, the objectives, and so on. But of course, most companies and executives know how crucial it is to evolve with technology and create digital processes and solutions. Putting into action is different. Many companies have endeavored on digital transformation only to hit roadblocks. See, what do you think went wrong? I believe the answer is, as they said, transformation is not a project. You cannot put timelines without knowing clearly what you are doing. Based on my experience as a practitioner who participated in the digital transformation efforts and as a coach supporting the team members who participated in this events, efforts, and also as instructors teaching digital transformation, seeing transformation activities as a project, expecting an end date is one of the biggest mistakes. I don't remember how many times I've been asked how long the digital transformation, DevOps transformation, or agile transformation will take. The answer is, as long as you want your company to be relevant to your customers, to your market. You see, it is continuous effort. So now you may ask why, but I'll take you a little bit to history lane. Let's talk about the industrial revolutions. You see, it will help you to understand the digital DevOps transformation, why we need to do it. First industrial revolution happened in 1700s with the invention of the steam engine. And then almost over 100 years later, electrical power was invented. And then the time lapse between the revolutions started to get closer because 1900 wasn't only one event. It was, computer is coming live and the information technology is growing. That's why then the lines start to blurry. It is not linear anymore. When we reach the 2000s, that's why, the inventions start to blow everywhere. You can look at, quantum computing, big data, robotic process, and you name it. You see, that's why it is really important to understand technical innovations all around us, everywhere. You may not notice how computer programming changed within the last 30 years. I remember. But just look at the job requirements from the 2000s. You don't need to go further than this. You would be surprised to see the difference. What was asked 20 years ago as technical skills, no one is asking today. You see, I was checking and I put on my references and when we moved to the networking rooms and I will answer question and I will share my presentation, by the way, you will see over there. I was looking, full stack developer term appeared first in 2008. It becomes very common and, interest increase in Google when you do, based on the Google searches, 2013, less than 10 years. And now, if the speed is like that, how you can think that, 5 years later, you will be still in the same position and the transformation you started will be still relevant? That's why this is a lifelong journey. That's why we should look at transformation-related activities from a different angle. It is a maturity process that goes in cycles. Yeah, sorry to tell you that, but technology is a tool, not the driver of the transformation. Mindset of the organizations and accepting the change is never-ending, continuous endeavor is a key here. I hope it's clear, but you see, say that on the left-hand side, your environment. And if you are expecting me to tell you that, if you follow these 5 steps to maturity or 6 steps to the success and give you the recipe on how to fight with the transformation, or expect me to, wiggle my magic wand towards you and you will get the success, unfortunately, it's not going to happen. If someone else comes to you and tells you that these 5 steps or 25 steps guaranteed to work, it is proven, work very well in other organizations and will work for you too, no, you know what? Tell them thank you and just leave. Without knowing your organization, without knowing your goals, objectives of the transformation, There is no magic wand. There is no magic solution here. Everything is situational. Depending on your infrastructure, your industry, your business model. See, don't underestimate this. Your organization's financials, profitability. If your organization have a very low margin or very high margin, you cannot apply the same roadmap, transformation roadmap to your organization activities. You see, your organization culture and structure, whether they are adaptive or hierarchical, is going to affect this. You may know the Conway's law. Mr. Conway, he was a computer programmer. You know what he said? He said that any organization that designs a system will produce a design whose structure is a copy or mirror of the organization's communication, organizational structure, social boundaries. He said this in 1967, by the way. That time he noticed that, in basic terms, it means software or application, whatever you are developing, it ends up shaped like the organizational structure you are in. It is designed in or designed for. Also, it means garbage in, garbage out. If you have this mix and match environment, like shows in the left-hand side, and you try to move everything as it is to the right-hand side, it is not going to be successful. That's why we call it Conway's law, but I recommend you to look at it more in detail. So now you might be wondering, where is my 5-6 level of maturity model? Let me show it to you. First, let's clarify. The term maturity relates to the degree of formality and optimization of processes, from ad hoc practices to formally defined steps to manage results metrics to achieve optimization of the processes. This is just an example. For some of the organization, for their transformation efforts, I use this model. But depending on your organization, you may have 7 layers, you may have 4 layers only. Why I like maturity models? Because it helps to identify an organization's maturity in a number of areas and points out the areas of improvement. Maturity models are quite good tools. They are valuable for benchmarking capability. It gives you an incremental target for improvement because you need to know where you are going, as said in the Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know your goals, you will never be able to reach. But that's why it creates a common language. Maturity model is a place to capture lessons learned and current capabilities, and also helps you to improve. That's why towards the shared goal. But of course, you cannot just apply to maturity models. I recommend you to write down the principles of your maturity model before developing your maturity model. What type of principle you will base to your maturity model? It must align with the transformation objectives. It may fit the context. You may need to engage stakeholders, provide clear guidance, make an informed decision-making, achieve measurable value, and facilitate continual improvement. If these are your principles, then based on this, you can create your maturity model. See, this is the important part. But to give you an idea, you can use this model. But there is other dimensions here, okay? Because you cannot apply to one dimension. Yes, sorry, the clarification. You can have one dimension if you are doing one thing. Transformation is multidimensional efforts. If you are upgrading certain infrastructure system, you can look at your existing maturity. Or if you are working on your process only, you can look at the maturity models. I roll out and train the risk maturity models or the project management process maturity models. But for transformation is multidimensional. You have to look at the minimum, you have to look at your systems, sorry, whatever the tools available and the infrastructures you have for your employees. Business model. How value is delivered in the industry? Traditional, you are a brick and mortar or uncharted startup, brand new industry. That's why this will actually help you to, define your maturity. Organization culture, how the decision making is made in your organization. Is there what is the level of collaboration and processes? Current organizational mindset, what is available in the processes, and so on. This is important because, as I mentioned, especially for the processes, if your process is broken, transforming this process to the future state will not change this. It will be still broken. That's why you have to assess this. And of course, you have to look at your people. What is the available talent and their capabilities? What are the demographics of your people? What is the objectives of those people? And because you may ask, is that all? Actually not. You may include or exclude some of the items from this list. You need to tailor it based on your organization, based on your need. If you are running this just for your organization or the department, then it will be different. That's why, please keep in mind that, everything is tailorable. You have to adjust, modify based on your needs. I'm just trying to give you an idea to decide which one should be included in your transformation efforts. I can tell you that tools, processes, and peoples are must-haves. Without these three, you cannot expect any positive results from your transformation activities. But not having business model or organization culture in this mix actually is a missing step. That's why you have to keep in mind what else you need to add it or change the context, combine couple tools and so on. That's why it is important to remember, and also remember the technological change is nothing new in this world, okay? This change, but the current technological change is happening at a rate faster than ever before. As I mentioned, we are looking to full stack developer less than last 10 years. And we don't know what we will be looking next 5 years. That's why keep in mind, and sorry, if you want more information, actually read the World Economic Forum's job reports about the future work. All right, if everything is good, I am moving to the next slide. What I recommend. Say that you build your principles and the transformation dimensions and agree on the levels for the maturity model. I strongly recommend to run an assessment survey to people that using the systems, to everyone, because depends on the organization, if you have the assembly lines or factory floor, they do the certain things, they don't access the company emails. You don't need to include them for this DevOps transformation, digital transformation efforts. But whoever receiving an email, I recommend you to run a quick, simple survey. If your dimensions, transformation dimensions has, 5 items, sorry, then just the 5 questions and ask the users, what they are thinking about based on their knowledge, assumptions, not details. We don't want them to go look at the Google and, find out what they think that their organization is, business model is. They can choose level, 1 to 5, 0 to 6, whatever the, maturity model, and you can collect. And definitely, I don't recommend asking names or personal identification items. Their employee ID and so on. But it is better to collect the group, the department information, and also the role level, if you have any, the supervisor, manager, VPs, C-level admins, etc., because it will help you to analyze. Because what I do, it is very simple. Depending on the organization, I use either the Google Forms or the Microsoft Teams forms to run this survey, because it's easy within the organization, and send it out. And then I collect these answers. You see, creating this simple table, even just one, will give you an idea where you are at. Again, important point, I'm not just asking only selected people. I'm asking to majority. Okay. Based on the, their responses, I am looking, okay, overall, I am on the compliance stage. But there are some fluctuations over there, you see in that table. And, group of majority of people for the processes thinks that we have very good, well-designed, integrated system processes in place. This is interesting. That's why then I look at it. Is it specific to one department? You see, then I run another query to see, which groups, and identify this. And then I look at the levels. Are we talking about the management level, or the admin level, or the analyst level, expert level? You see, that will give you the idea. Now, when you have this information, then you can assess your transformation efforts, where you are and how you can move forward. Because again, it's important to see where are the missing parts. You see, there is a 0 here because actually, no one thinks that your process are optimized, continually improved, assessed, and so. That's why then we have to understand why this is happening like that. You see, I mean, there are systems, only 2 people thinks that, systems are optimized, state of the art. You see, when you identify this, which groups think like that, maybe because the process integrated is high, but this might be the, finance team, because their process is very well designed compared to IT or HR or marketing. You see, that will give you an idea. Then you can adjust your, transformation efforts accordingly. But, so you may say, now what? I have all this information, Christine. What I am going to do with this? You see, now you can think about it, improving your maturity levels. You see, achieving higher result from your maturity levels. It means somewhere your organization's goals wasn't clear. Maybe you should look at it to, ensure that everyone is clear on the objectives, what you are asking. You see, when we say process, we have to define which process we are talking. What are we talking? See, maybe this needs clarification, because if you are thinking that you are, you have a better process, maybe the assessing the current status, it is important. Maybe there is something missing over there. When you start your transformation efforts, you didn't assess current correctly. Maybe something is missed. What I found based on my experience is that, when we hire the consultants, come and look at our environment, give us a roadmap to improve our current states, most of the time, consultants talks with the management layer, and they gather the information. And because management implements the policies, processes, and they said, this is our level. What's happened? Then the consultant creates a roadmap for you from this level to the next level, the future level. And then when you start to implement this roadmap, you find out that actually you are not in that level, you are below. You see, there is a gap there. But the roadmap is giving to you, which is, you see, prescribed roadmap. It's missing that piece. And when you don't fill out that gap, you will never be able to reach your goal, because there will be always, some missing pieces around this. That is important. And then, as I said, your business model, which industry you are in, it is important because you need to understand the future of workforce, where your industry is going. I mean, remember all this, the blockbusters, videos, DVDs, and then now the Netflix, Amazon, and all this kind of stuff. You see, where is the future workforce for you? No one is writing checks anymore. That's you need to look at it. That's why your strategy should be based on the strategic mindset, the future mindset. And don't expect that the same strategy objectives for organization, for department will stay next 5 years. You have to establish a continuous learning and continuous development. There is no more anymore, I have this certification and I can use forever. I mean, I know that because I got my first project management certification 20 years ago. As you know, it's in, the North American community. No one is looking to PMPs anymore. They want it, but now there are new skills and so on. I mean, unless you are accountant, because the accounting practices established 500 years ago in Italy. Credit and debit columns established that time. And as you can see, 500 years, nothing changed. But as I said earlier, within 30 years, technology changed. You cannot stay in the same group. Then you have to have a process in place for continuous learning and continuous development. And definitely introduce collaborative work and learn the collective thinking. We'll talk on this a little bit more. So, collective thinking, actually, it is nothing to do with, the group of people's beliefs. And also, we are talking about the collective thinking given within the organizational boundaries based on your transformation objectives. How you can ensure that your team is making decision collectively. When you ask any member of the team, the answer is the same. See, you have to establish this. It is very interesting topics, but I've found so much benefits out of it when I introduced to the teams. Of course, you have to establish the respect, trust, and transparency within the team. But everyone needs to understand that, everyone is contributing to the big picture. Therefore, there is no successful teams. There is no individuals. Everyone succeeds or fails together. It's quite a different concept. But with this exercise, with these, activities, you can get that point. Then when you talk about your transformation efforts, transformation activities, the team will understand, you see. And also, of course, your goals, resources align in real time. Again, it is important because what you said 6 months ago may not be the same now. That's why everything has to be aligned real time. That's why we need the transparency. We need multi-channel communication within the team. It cannot be hierarchical teams anymore. You cannot let the decision to the management anymore because all team members needs to learn the collectively making decision. I hope it is clear, but if you have any question, as I mentioned, we'll move to the networking room. So, last but not least, I called it because let me give you some treatment, prescribed medicine for your resistance, for challenges. Again, as a human being, we like to understand what is coming. Yes, we cannot predict everything what is happening, but what we can do, get the understanding of what it might be. Okay, and we need to be relevant. It is important. IT or DevOps teams or whatever you call, and the business. Remember, as IT, we are actually servicing the business. That's why we must co-create the objectives of the transformation efforts. Telling them that we are running Agile, Scrum, or DevOps, and so actually doesn't mean anything. Let me tell you. It has to be co-created. And you have to look at the market and the competition around you. You have to focus on quality, not quantity. That's why we don't like too much timelines. Of course, you will have the steps, you will have the roadmap, the phases, and everything. But you will check, you will measure it, you will look at where you are at, and then you will continue. You know, if you run the same assessment 3 months later or 6 months later, you should get better if you follow this certain structure. Okay. And also embrace adaptive design and continuous disruptions. It is going to happen. It is not going to change. That's the reality of today's, as I said, you know. What you know today may not be relevant tomorrow. That's why be ready. All right. This is actually end of my speech. And thank you very much. Now I will actually log out from here and move to the networking room 2. I'll see you all there. And is there anything, Daniel? I'm done. Titan? All right. Then I will leave you guys here and see you at the networking room 2. Thank you.